Hey, everybody. Welcome to Tipsy Tuesday. It is your girl, Everly Alexander, CEO of the Good Resume Project. I am going to wait for a few more people to come on in. I am so excited today, y'all. How you doing? How y'all doing out there? I hope y'all are doing okay. I really do. It is a beautiful Tuesday evening here in Atlanta. Um, but I'm excited to talk to you all about a few tips. I want to drop a few gems because, it's hard out here nowadays, everyone. It is hard. So I want to make sure that you all have some gems on how to get into this resume, how to tailor it, how to remix that thing. So get in here. Definitely get in here and come and see what I am cooking up. All right, so let's get started. So, for those that do not know, I am Everly Alexander, the CEO of the Good Resume Project, which is a subsidiary of my nonprofit called Community Outreach and Advocacy Corporation. And we provide Oh my goodness, we provide a lot of different services. Hey Sandra, how are you? It's beautiful in Florida. Hey girl, hey. But we provide a lot of services in various facets. On the nonprofit side, our community outreach side, we are in the streets feeding the homeless. We are putting food on tables of people who are challenged with homelessness, joblessness, who are looking for resources to provide themselves with some sort of self-sufficiency. We're in colleges, y'all, feeding the college students and implementing programs on their campuses so that students who are exiled from their families because of their sexuality, or because they lack limited resources, or just because, hey, look, you in college and you got to either figure out how to pay your phone bill or get something to eat. We're in the colleges making sure that they eat, making sure that they have the toiletries that they need and everything that they need in order to thrive and get to the next level. So that is what we do as a nonprofit. And all proceeds from the Good Resume Project go towards that. So let's talk about it. Okay, let's just jump right into it. I want to make sure that you get all of this tea, because if you are somebody who has been looking for a job and you've been applying and applying and applying, and you really haven't gotten what you needed, right? You haven't gotten any responses, you keep getting rejection emails. I pray that this video helps you with these tips that I'm going to give you in order to really truly shake your resume up, right? All right, so let's jump into it, y'all. All right, as you know, it's Tipsy Tuesday, so we're giving all the tips. All right, tip one. All right, if you have a resume, if you haven't brushed that thing off, please brush it off. Take your resume and brush it off. Make it look good, make it look pretty. But the thing that people need to know the most, if you don't already know, resumes have changed so much, even in the last 5 years, shoot, even in the last year. But the one thing that remains consistent is making sure that you have the proper keywords in order to match the job description so that your resume can pass the applicant tracking systems. So, tip one is start by thoroughly reading that job description. Highlight those keywords that you see that pop out at you. If you are somebody who is like, well, I don't know what the keywords are, or how do I know? A really good website is JobScan. If you have never heard of JobScan, get on JobScan. Okay, it is www.jobscan.co. You can type it into Google if you couldn't catch it. JobScan will perfectly, accurately pull the keywords from a job description, match the keywords that you have, and pull the keywords from your resume, match them together, right? And say, hey, you don't have this keyword, and this is what your score on our applicant tracking system looks like. So if you can't get to at least a 70 on an applicant tracking system, then they're saying there's a possibility that your resume will not get pulled. So here is the very first step, right? Making sure that appropriate keywords in a job description matches and aligns with your resume. Okay, the appropriate keywords. Don't just go putting everything in there. Don't do the unethical trick of taking all the keywords off a job scan, putting them somewhere on the second page of your resume and putting in them in all white. That doesn't work. Recruiters know, and you automatically get rejected. So make sure you are thoughtful with putting those keywords. Make sure they make sense with your past. Make sure those are something that you can actually demonstrate if you are tested and if you are interviewed on it. All right. That's tip one. Okay. That merges in with tip two to use those keywords, right? All right. So let's go ahead and get over to step three or tip three. Now, here's the thing. You want to highlight your relevant experience. I meet with so many people who have, oh my gosh, they have their entire work history on their resume. And that's okay for some people, right? For some people, because some people may have been in the same role for 10, 20 years, but or the same industry or job, company for the same 20 years. So you kind of want to use that to your discretion, but most people most people need to have the last 10 years on your resume. Everything that happened in the last 10 years, all the jobs that you've had in the last 10 years, let me be more precise, all the jobs that you've had in the last 10 years is what you need on most standard resumes. If you're an executive or a C-suite, a lot of the times there is some wiggle room, but the 10 years is where we go. And here's the thing, in the last 10 years, don't put everything that you've done, right? Don't put every task, every duty. Employers don't really care about that part. Yes, they want context, right? But they're more concerned about the achievements that you've made. So, an achievement statement can be a measurable result, and I'll just verbalize what that looks like for you in a minute. It could be a measurable result, something that is quantitative in nature, or it could be qualitative, right? Or it could be qualitative. Okay. So the thing that works 9 times out of 10 are your quantitative bullet points. All right, that's going to be the biggest thing. So, here I'm going to give you a very simple bullet point. If you have a bullet point that said, um, let's see, managed cases. Let's say managed project. No, I'll go with this one. Managed healthcare cases. I'm just going something very simple, right? Just something simple because everybody have their own nuances. So managed healthcare cases doesn't say anything to an employer, right? They know that you now managed healthcare cases. Maybe you're in account management. Maybe you handle case management in some capacity. But now when you put a number on it, it gives specificity to not only what you've done, right? But it creates impact because now I have an idea of what you can handle. I have an idea as an employer of what you can handle, what I'm mentally looking for, what I know in this role that I want somebody to be capable of doing that I couldn't quite put on my job description, right? Because job descriptions are oftentimes have very broad statements. You're giving specificity to the actual duty that you've done. So let's reverse that, right? Let's change that up a bit. All right. So we're going to say managed 20 healthcare cases weekly. That's a bigger deal. That's a bigger deal to say that because now I know that you can handle at least 20 per week versus just the fact that you handle healthcare cases. And I may have changed that up a little bit, just thinking off the top of the dome, but definitely give some oomph to it. The numbers help show your results. It shows what you're capable of. It shows that you made an impact in that role, in that duty. Okay. So now you want to tack on a result to the end of that, right? So managed 20 healthcare cases by collaborating with upper management, thus, or resulting in 10% increase in company revenue, or um, 10% increase in capture rate, whichever. You can word it a few different ways. The biggest question that I get from people is, I understand how to add, that I need to add numbers, right? I understand that I need to have qualitative, or I'm sorry, quantitative bullet points to my resume, but I don't know how to do it. I just gave you an example of how to do it. So now you got a little bit of insight of how it should be worded. All right. I always tell people the best way to verbalize or write a bullet point is to write what you did, how you did it, the word by, so it's going to be what you did, by, how you did it. You can always mix that together, and then resulting in. Okay, so you'll have your how you did it, what you did, and your results. Okay, so that's also known as situation, action, and results, also called a SAR form. Okay, people call it all different types of things when you look it up on Google, or when you meet with someone like me who writes resumes. We'll be asking that of you. We want to know what your results are. If you can't verbalize it, even if you can't write it, you definitely want to have somebody skilled that can help you through that process. So now you know what to do. So highlight that relevant skills and experience section. Let's dive a little bit deeper into the skills, right? Because now, y'all, I get people who've been working for 20 something years, and all they put in a skills section is Microsoft Office, Microsoft Suite, whichever. Please take note of all the skills that you have, all your competencies, right? Think about your day to day activities. Think about your monthly, your quarterly activities. Think about the technical skills you have, because Microsoft is a technical skill. But what other competencies, which are considered hard skills, what other hard skills do you have? So let me break it down. A hard skill is a skill that, if I, as an employer, wanted to test you on, or wanted to ask you a question about so that you can demonstrate it, or break down your process of it, that is considered a hard skill, right? These hard skills may sound like project management, right? Because I can demonstrate that. I can show you, break down my process of how I manage projects, right? Another hard skill might be um, team development. Um, Soft skills are skills that really suits your character, or shows your character, right? Shows the type of person that you are, shows your personality traits. They're very much skills, and you need a hard skill and a soft skill that marries very well together to create the ideal candidate. So in an interview, employers often can, when they interview it, especially if they're a really good interviewer, they can often see these soft skills as you're talking. Maybe you are a good communicator, because of communication is considered a soft skill, right? Because you're talking, I can understand what you're saying. Collaboration is also a soft skill, but highly needed. You're going to see communication and collaboration, they go hand in hand. That's what makes companies run. That's what makes our projects run. That's what makes our teams run. That's what drives revenue. Companies love to see it. So make sure you're building and tying your hard skills and your soft skills together. Soft skills, I like to sprinkle them throughout the summary. I like to sprinkle them throughout the professional experience section. But use that skills section, or your competencies. You can call it a competency section. You can call it an area of expertise section. You can call that. There's multiple things that you can call the skills section, but use that skills section to really highlight your hard skills. The hard skills is what drives your ATS score all the way up. And we'll talk about what an ATS is in just a minute for those who are unfamiliar with it, okay? All right. Tip 4. Customize your summary, y'all. Right? Stop putting those generic, broad summaries on your resume. And for those that don't have it, it is my personal preference, and my one of my biggest advices is to actually have a resume summary on your document. Some people like to go straight from the contact information and straight into their professional experience. To each his own. Certain industries, to each his own, right? But it is my personal belief, and from all of the experience that I have, I got like 9 years of experience, y'all. A summary section really does create that scope of who you are professionally. That introduction is a great introduction as to the type of problem that you can solve, the solutions that you bring, just highlights all of that. I always tell people it's a part of how you front load, right? If a resume is 2 pages, as an employer, in 5 seconds, I'm looking at the top half of your resume. A lot of the times, this is going to include your targeted job skills, some words in your summary, your skills section, or your career highlight section. That's another Tipsy Tuesday, y'all. We can talk about career highlights because I like to make everybody look like they're an executive or a manager, or really showcase what you've done in that way. But that top quarter of your resume is where everything should pop, right? Because employers are not going to read through page the rest of the page, and they're not going to go towards page 2. And if you have 3 and 4 pages, they're definitely not reading that, not in 5 seconds. They need to see what they need to see quickly. And if they choose one section, it would be the skills section. So make sure this is where you plug and play those skills, okay, from the job description into that skills section, y'all. All right, but customize your summary to really truly showcase who you are professionally, to scope your resume. Um, and this is also another great place where, me personally, if I'm working with a client, I kind of like to put certain achievements in here as well. And maybe just one, maybe 1 or 2 achievements. I like to play with it. I certainly don't like to make this particular section long at all. I would say that it needs to be 3 to 4 lines long, which looks like 2 or 3 sentences. All right, just because there are some people that may not read the summary, but for the people that do read the summary, you want to make it easy enough for them to read. All right, so let's talk about it. Keep it concise, keep it clear, keep it concise. Resumes have the ability, or people have the ability to create a resume that feels like it's all over the place, right? It doesn't necessarily make sense. It is chocked full of irrelevant information that truly doesn't fit where the person is going. um and of course, it may be a part of your path, but remember, in the beginning we said keep it relevant. Keep it relevant, okay? And the other question that I get often is, should my resume be just 1 page or 2 pages? Or I got like 4 pages. Can I keep all of that? Can I add some more? So I get it all. I get the gamut of questions. I would say the standard resume is 2 pages long. Okay. If you are an executive, if you are C-suite level, there are instances where your resume can go beyond the 2 pages, because certainly there would be a lot of things that you've done throughout your career, a lot of impact that you've made, more so than the average person who would write a standard resume. But a standard resume is typically about 2 pages long. Now, if you are somebody um, who's looking for a government job or a federal job, federal resumes typically are much longer than that. Much longer. My goodness, at the very minimum, they're 4 pages, right? At the very minimum, they're 4 pages. They can go on to feel like a book sometimes. I've seen 10-page resumes for federal resumes. So if you are somebody who's watching this and you're looking to apply for a federal job, hit me up in the DMs. Let me know. I'll give you a few tips, or just utilize my services. I can get you all together. Um, but outside of the 5 tips, I didn't put the last tip in here, but I'm going to go ahead and add it in here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add it in here just so we can talk about it, because there are people who really don't know what an ATS is. And an ATS is just an applicant tracking system. Okay? An applicant tracking system. Oh my goodness, about 80 to 85%, maybe even a little higher. 80 to 85% of companies use applicant tracking systems. An applicant tracking system, in layman's terms, is an HR software that pulls the keywords from your resume. It pulls keywords. It sees if you how qualified of a candidate you are potentially. It looks at your education. It looks at all types of things. It looks for a lot of different things, but the keywords truly drive applicant tracking systems. So if you have been applying and you've been applying with only one resume, you haven't changed that resume up, you haven't done anything to it, you just apply for job after job after job after job, please be aware of the applicant tracking systems. This could be why you are not getting the results that you need. In order to boost your results, you need to cater and tailor your resume to each and every job. The easiest way, I don't know if anybody is hearing me here, the easiest way to do that, the easiest way is to adjust that skills section, y'all. We go back to tip 3. That skills section is the easiest plug and play, because if I've applied for this role that requires project management, but this other role requires program management, and I don't have program management on my resume, but I know I've done it, I can just plug and play that. Take project management out, put program management in, skills section done, right? So you got to just take it in chunks. Okay, so that way it doesn't feel like so much. And literally, you could remix that resume in about 5 minutes for all roles, right? Have a good job strategy in place. I'll get on here one Tuesday and talk about the best job strategies. Let me know in the chat if you are interested in hearing some job strategies that will suit you for every career level. For every career level, it's one thing to apply for a role, but it's another thing when you apply and you have a good solid job strategy in place. The results that you can generate is mind-blowing. So just make sure that you are employing some type of strategy. All right, guys. So those are my 5 tips on how to remix your resume, how to tailor that thing up just to make it look good, to make you seen a lot more. You want to get seen. That's the goal, right? There are a lot of jobs out here. I know that there have been some mass layoffs, right? Mass layoffs this year. But keep hope alive for those who are looking, the ones that have been laid off. Please, please, please don't get discouraged. I'm definitely praying for you, making sure that you get to that next level. And I hope these tips can help you. For those who are just looking casually, good luck to you. I know that you will definitely find results fairly soon. And of course, once you employ these tips, your resume is going to skyrocket. You will be very surprised at what it will do. All right. Last but not least, y'all, you know I got to do a shameless plug. If you've been following me and you've been watching some of my Tipsy Tuesdays, this is where I like to do a shameless plug, okay? And it's shameless because I got to promote. I want to tell you what I'm working with, okay? If you are interested in getting your resume, your cover letter, your LinkedIn done. If you are interested in career coaching, we have a wonderful, wonderful team that will help you get there. We help professionals level up. A lot of people that come to us are people that are looking to transition careers, and we help them transition careers, transition industries, transition job levels, titles. You go from a totally different industry to a totally new one. We have a lot of people that come to us that are in transition mode and have been able to successfully do that just by utilizing our services. And so, if you're interested, head on over to goodresumeproject.com. You could also type in the Good Resume Project. It'll still pull up our information, and it'll show you all the ways that you can stay connected. And then, of course, check out our freebie. All right. If you go to my LinkedIn page, if you're on LinkedIn, Go to my LinkedIn page. Shoot, if you're not on LinkedIn, type my name into Google. My LinkedIn page will pop up. All right. And go to my featured section. My featured section will house a good resume checklist freebie for you. Get that checklist. It'll encompass everything, all the tips that I talked about today. Um, all right, y'all. So I hope that this was helpful. Thanks so much for joining me. Oh, Sandra, I'm going to answer your question. Do I have to change my resume? Oh, yeah, I think I did answer your question, Sandra. Yes, change your resume up every time. But the easiest way to do it is just with the skills, just with the skills. Okay. In the skills section, that's it. This is what Sandra has said, you all. That will be helpful for you. That way you don't feel like you're changing the entire resume, right? The skills is one of the easiest ways. If you want to dig down into the weeds, change your skills up, and then make sure that your skills are demonstrated in your bullet points. Okay. Or at least demonstrated at least once throughout your resume. That's why I always say you never want to just put any kind of skill in there. Put the skills that are relevant. Put the skills that are appropriate for you, for your background, and for your industry. All right. I hope this was helpful. Thank you all for staying with me. Thank you all for checking in. I appreciate you. Definitely follow me on LinkedIn. Subscribe if you're looking on YouTube. If you are on Facebook, follow me, connect with me. And yeah, I would love to connect with you. But until we connect, peace.